Good morning. It's Thursday morning. We're going to read from Acts 5:17 through 27. The high priest rose up, and all who were with him, that is, the party of the Sadducees, and filled with jealousy, they arrested the apostles and put them in the public prison. But during the night, an angel of the Lord opened the prison doors and brought them out and said, "Go and stand in the temple and speak to the people all the words of this life." When they heard this, they entered the temple at daybreak and began to teach. And when the high priest came and those who were with him, they called together the council, all the senate of the people of Israel, and sent to the prison to have them brought. But when the officers came, they did not find them in the prison, and so they returned and reported, "We found the prison securely locked and the guards standing at the doors. But when we opened them, we found no one inside." Now the captain of the temple and the chief priests heard these words, and they were greatly perplexed about them, wondering what this would come to. And someone came and said, "Look, the men whom you put in prison are standing in the temple teaching the people." Then the captain with the officers went and brought them, but not by force, for they were afraid of being stoned by the people. That's 17 through 26, okay? This is a long story and goes on for like another 15 or 20 verses, but we'll split it in half for our purposes. So the Sadducees, we remember them. They're the ones who don't believe there's a resurrection, who focus their work focus their attention and their efforts of piety on the temple. You have to obey the temple laws. You have to do what the law says in regard to the sacrifices and the celebrations and things. And if you do that, you'll be blessed in this life, and then when you die, you die. That's the deal. Sadducees comes from a Hebrew word that means holy ones. They're like this. Sadak is the root of it. I don't remember the word. And so Sadducees are these holy ones, these extra holy people who focus on the temple. And what Peter and John and the others are doing essentially is disrupting the temple, because they're telling people, Jesus died for the forgiveness of your sins. You don't have to go to the temple and sacrifice a bird or a goat. And they're telling the people, faith in God comes through faith in Jesus, and it's direct. You don't have to have these intermediaries and things, which is always threatening to priests when people out there in the public start talking radically like that. Same thing happened at the Reformation, exactly the same thing. The Reformers said, you don't need this church structure, you just need faith. And that blew apart Western medieval Christendom. So that's the perennial problem for priests. And then the angel comes in the night and lets them free and says, "Go out there and teach." And so they all gather in the morning and they go to the jail, and there's nobody in there. Now imagine that happening in our day. The court convenes and sends for the prisoner, and they come back and say, "We went in the jail and it's all locked up, but there's nobody in there. So where'd they go?" And somebody else comes and says, "Hey, those guys, they're out. They're already back out preaching." And so they went and got them and arrested them, but they were afraid of the crowd. They were afraid of the people, so they just sort of said, "Come with us." And they didn't grab them and drag them off or anything. They said, "Come with us." And Peter and John come because, okay, we'll do this thing if they want to do this again. And we'll read the rest of the story tomorrow. But it's there's this ongoing conflict then between the early church and the temple authorities. And it's not going to get any better. But that's where we are. And the people, the priests are afraid of the people. You see, where the temple was, the public part of the temple is sort of here. And up the hill is a barracks where the Roman guard is stationed. And there's a stairway that runs right down into the public part of the court of the temple. So if any commotion starts down there, say they arrest Peter and John and the crowd starts rioting, the guards are going to come rushing down the stairs and they're going to put the rioters down. They're going to kill people. They're going to make them stop fighting. They're going to arrest people. Then they're going to ask questions. And so you don't want to have any kind of riot. You don't want to have any kind of disturbance. You don't want to have anything happen that's going to arouse the Romans. And that's basically the motivation behind a lot of this stuff in the scriptures. They don't want to upset Rome. Whatever we do, let's keep it quiet. And so that's where we are. More of the story tomorrow, and we'll see what Peter says to the priests and how the priests and the rabbis who are convened in the council, how they respond, because it's very interesting. So for today, have a great day, and we will see you Friday morning.